All right, thank you everybody for joining us. My name is Liz Walch. I am the Great Lakes and Canada coordinator for the Food for Thought program. So today I'm going to be starting off our interview series with executive directors, learning a little bit more about their organizations and why they decided to create a vegan policy. And my first interviewee is Elise Desaulniers, the executive director of the Montreal SPCA, which happens to be celebrating its 150th anniversary this year, which is amazing. And she happens to be the first female executive director of the SPCA. So thank you so much, Elise, for taking the time to talk with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So let's jump right into it. So I understand that the SPCA of Montreal, you have a vegan policy, so a vegan food policy that you only serve vegan food at your events and fundraisers. Can you tell me a little bit about how long you've had the policy and why your organization adopted that policy?
Yeah, it was a few years ago, before I joined the Montreal SPCA. At this time, there was few vegan activists, member of our management team. One of them is Alana Devine. She had been interim executive director before. She was the director of animal advocacy. There was also Sophie Gaillard, who's now the new director of animal advocacy. And I think they put a lot of pressure on the previous executive director, Nicholas Gilman. So our policy would be, in fact, in line with our overall policies about all animals are equal and we're against cruelty towards animals. So for them, it was kind of normal that if we want to save life and fight against cruelty, we cannot serve any animal foods in our events. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think they brought it to the board and had a little bit of fight, but they kind of convinced the board. When I joined the board 3 years ago, there was still discussion because we're doing fundraisers like most organizations like mm-hmm. ours, and would people pay $125 for an event where there is only vegan food? Some people were not sure, but yes, mm-hmm. in fact, it works. It works. And beside the fundraisings, we have also a vegan policy with employees. So when we celebrate a birthday or buy, croissant or muffins for breakfast, it's vegan. Wow. It helps that we're in Montreal and there is a lot of good vegan food in Montreal. Okay, yeah. But people stick to that policy. Even the non-vegan employees and volunteers understand we have a vegan policy, and it's kind of normal right now. It's part of the culture.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a change, but now, like you mentioned, it's part of the culture.
Yes.
So yeah, that's great to hear what, the reasons why your organization decided to do it. And obviously it helps, like you said, you're in Montreal, it's a little bit more supportive there. But why do you think, just generally across Canada, across the US, why do you think it's important for all companion animal shelters and rescue at least consider moving towards, if not completely adopting, a vegan menu policy?
Well, it's just a matter of coherence. I mean, you, like I said earlier, you cannot fight to save animal lives by killing other lives. Mm-hmm. And it's so easy to adopt a vegan policy. Of course, I'm not asking for all employees and all volunteers to become vegan. That's a matter of personal choice. Yeah. And people have their own reason and circumstances in their life that can allow them to be vegan or not vegan, and that's another story. But as an organization, we do have values, we do have politics, and those politics have to all be aligned. And what we serve to in our events has to be in line with what we say in public. So it's just normal. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up
and much easier than what people think.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that distinction between you're not telling people personally what they should do, whether it's your supporters, your staff members, what they do at home, what they want to eat at home. That's totally fine. But as an organization and based on your values, your mission, you decide to create that policy. I think that's really important, and that's something we try to tell other organizations with the Food for Thought program. Is it's about the organization, you taking a stand, you standing up for that mission. So as we say, align your mission with your menu. So yeah.
And all organization makes choice when you decide to have an event, you're making a choice. When you decide to serve that kind of wine, you make a choice. Yeah. And so we're always making choice for others. We're deciding what people will eat in those events. We're already making choice for them. So we have to make the most ethical choice we can. Yeah. So that's simple.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I saw that you have published so far 3 different books about animal rights. You've also been interviewed multiple times about those topics. You're also coming out with a cookbook next month.
Yes.
Which is amazing. So when you, so was the vegan policy attractive factor when you decided to come on as the executive director?
Well, it was kind of a challenge for an animal rights activist to join a traditional animal rights organization, a dog and cat shelter. I was not expecting that. So in fact, I was on the board. The position opened. I went as interim executive director just to help. And I was surprised to like that. But for me, all animals are equal. So of course, I love cats and dogs, but I love cows and pigs also. So I wouldn't have joined the Montreal SPCA without a policy like that. I wouldn't feel comfortable if we would have put hierarchy between species. So yes, it was important for me, and being there helps me talking about veganism to more conservative people. It gives me a voice. So when I'm meeting people from other shelters, of course, in One Vegan, and we can talk about it. When we work with Humane Canada, the Canadian Federation of Humane Societies, of course, I'm asking that the food served in our events is vegan. And in fact, the Animal Welfare Conference will be in Montreal this year. And for the first time, it's going to be a complete vegan conference.
Wow.
As a sponsor, I asked, well, no, I'm not giving you any money if you are not vegan. Yeah. So that position gives me a voice to bring veganism in the traditional shelter world.
That's amazing. That's so great. So you mentioned that you're a lover of dogs and cats, lover of pigs and cows. So I have to ask, what is your favorite farmed animal?
Of course, it's cows. I love cows. I wrote a book about dairy farming, and I chose dairy just because I realized it was easy to convince people to quit meat, but as for dairy, it's maybe more challenging. And I got to know cows just by working on this book, and I really fell in love with cows. So I cannot have a cow in my backyard, but I really, really love cows, and they're super brilliant, sensitive. They develop strong relationship with each other and with human animals, and we really don't know them. We don't see them. When we see them, they're attached in their barns and like they're tired. But when you give them freedom and you see them like playing in the snow and in the woods, you realize, wow, how fantastic they are. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, I haven't spent too much time around cows, but I was volunteering as a camp counselor at a farm sanctuary in Wisconsin for a few summers, and they had 2 little baby cows come. So over the summers, I could see them grow up, and like they are gentle giants. They just want to lick your hands, and they're just little sweeties, get a little nuzzles. So yeah, I love cows too.
and I love roosters too. I spent a bit of time in my office with a rooster. His name is Tommy. We had him at the SPCA when he was super little, and he grew up in an office. So like he loves like being in an office. He loves being in a meeting. He loves to play with my computer. Yeah, he's amazing. And we don't get to know rooster neither. Like we see them as like little annoying things, but yes, they are, but they're also fantastic. And by getting to know Tommy, I realized how brilliant roosters are. We are 125 employees at the Montreal SPCA, and there's people he loves, there's people he doesn't like, and he recognizes every single person. Like if he likes you and he haven't seen you in 2 months and you come back in my office, he will recognize you and be so happy. Yeah.
That's amazing. So he's kind of a good little spokesperson to be at the shelter for chickens. Yeah, that's amazing. Wow. Would you mind telling us about some of the events that you've had that have been all vegan, and how did people accept them? What were the comments? How did it go?
Well, in fact, we don't talk about the food that is going to be served. And if you, when you're invited in a wedding or any fundraising event, people don't tell in advance what kind of food you will have. Like they just tell you that there will be wine and a beer and food. So we don't tell people what we're going to serve, and we don't tell them it's going to be vegan. And I think it's a good thing. So like if vegan ask us, of course we say yes, and we don't hide it, but it's not like written big on the website or whatever.
Yeah.
So we had a few like very, very big events with a few hundred people, a high-end event with a lot of food, and all we got was really, really good comments. In fact, when the food is not good, we hear about it. When the food is good, we hear about it. And the fact it's vegan or not vegan doesn't make it much difference, but we need to serve really, really good food so people enjoy themselves. And I don't think they realize it's vegan unless we tell them. They just like see that the food is good. So far we just add cocktails, and I think it's a good formula because people can get to taste different things. So we had like smaller one, like wine tasting with a few bites, and larger events, but it's always successful. But I think the key is to have a really, really good caterer that knows that good vegan food is not just veggies with hummus, but you have to put more creativity in it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something we hear from other organizations who've adopted policies and have events that, at first they're not sure how it's going to go, but if they don't mention it and just serve great food, they actually hear really good comments. And sometimes people are even surprised if they do find out through conversation. Oh, wow, this is vegan. Oh, it was really good. Like I had a great time. So that's great to hear.
And don't try to make it healthy. Like it's not the place to serve like bowls and stuff like that. This is what you should eat. Raw food and whole food is something you should eat every day, but not in events. Like put fat, put salt, put spices, make it good.
Make it good. Make our little human brains buzz with the fat and the salt and the sugar. Yep, have fun.
A lot of sugar. Like important.
So you have been writing a cookbook. Do you have a particular vegan dish that you really, really love to make?
Well, my cookbook is it's been a lot of work in the past year. We took 10% from the Montreal area that have different backgrounds. Someone is from Lebanon, someone is from Vietnam. We have people from South America, from Jamaica, and they present a table of food they would share with people they love based on their traditional recipes. Wow. So yeah, because like we said, like the vegan food has to be good, and traditional recipes around the world, there's a lot of vegan food already there by nature. It's been vegan forever, or you can make vegan just by tweaking a few ingredients. And I think if I invite my mother over and I tell her we're going to eat Vietnamese tonight, she will be super excited. If I tell her I'm going to cook vegan food, she might not be as excited.
Yeah.
So in the past year, I've eaten a lot of food from around the world, and I would say, and I just bought an Instant Pot and I use it all the time. So I would say that right now, my favorite food would probably, it's so hard to choose, but probably something from Asia, maybe like tempeh korma or something like that would be like in my Instant Pot. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been eyeing an Instant Pot. I think I need to get one to like up my game.
You do. Like we should do an interview about Instant Pot. It's really changed my life.
Oh, that sounds great. Okay, part 2, just talking about Instant Pot. Great.
Yes.
So I guess to wrap up, do you have any advice to other organizations in Canada or the US who are thinking about adopting a policy? What advice would you give them?
Don't think too much, just do it. You have to do it. All animals are equal. It's not because our laws give more rights to dogs and cats than to chickens and cows and pigs that they should. We are the one who are going to change the world, and we need to align our practice with our values. And of course, people do not like changes. You will hear bad comments, but like don't care. They will stop. And I think the backlash, if you don't do it, is going to be worse than the few like bad comments you might get on your Facebook events. So just do it, and serve good food. Serve food that you actually like, and it's going to go well.
Good. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to us about your policy and the reasons why you decided to adopt one and the reasons why others should as well. Thank you so much, Elise.
Thank you.